What's up again, WrestlingFigz fans, and today we're back with another unboxing video. Now the first figure that we're going to be taking a look at is Diamond Dallas Page. Now this Diamond Dallas Page is from Elite Series 36, but I believe this is actually a re-release from the WWE Legends series, and the only difference is in that line the DDP had a blue trim on his tights instead of this pink. If we take a look on the front and both sides of the box, we've got the same picture of DDP down the bottom there, so you know, you get to see what he looked like in his WCW days. On the back of the box we've got another cool image of DDP, you know, the time where this ring attire is from, a little catchphrase, and some other information. We also get to see who else is in this line, and we've got Bray Wyatt, Dean Ambrose, Goldust, Stardust, and Bo Dallas. Taking a quick look at the figure itself, it's a pretty basic looking figure. On the side of the tights, if you can see it right there, you have the DDP sort of diamond logo. You can sort of just make it out in the packaging, and it also comes with this entrance vest, and on the back of that vest is that same logo. And if you can work it out in there, the tattoo detail is actually pretty good. We've got that tiny little star that DDP has on his chest, so it's nice that they've added that. As for the face scan itself, it's not bad, but it's not amazing either. You can sort of see it's DDP, but you know, if you take a look at the actual picture of DDP on the side here, and then go back to that picture, it's, you know, it's a little different. But all in all, I'd say it's a pretty basic looking figure. If you're a fan of DDP, then I would definitely recommend this one, but if you're not, I would definitely give this one a miss. I like it personally because I like DDP and I like WCW, so I'm glad to have this one in my collection, but it's not the best figure I've got. Now these next 3 figures that I have are from the WrestlingShop.com, and if you want to check them out, I'll leave a link in the description down below. But let's start this one off with Lord Steven Regal. Now taking a quick look at the packaging, this is obviously from the Elite Flashback series, and it's from the sort of WCW line where they're re-releasing old classic WCW superstars. On the side of the box we've got a cool picture of Steven Regal, on the other side the same picture, on the back it's exactly the same, except now we have some information about Steven Regal on there. And we can also see who else comes in this line. We've got Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, the Dudley Boys, and Lex Luger, who we've actually looked at in the past. Now one thing I do want to talk about when it comes to this figure is, as you should know, Steven Regal is William Regal, and this figure says it's the first time in the line, which it is if you're classing it as a Steven Regal figure. It is the first one in the line, but they have made, to my knowledge, at least one or two William Regal figures. So although this is the first Steven Regal in the line, if we take a look at the back here on the career highlights, he didn't win the Intercontinental Championship or the King of the Ring or the European Championship until he was William Regal. So if they're classing these as William Regal's accomplishments, then they may as well class this as a William Regal figure, and therefore it's not the first in the line. So, you know, it's pick or choose basically. As for the figure itself, I was never a huge Steven Regal fan when he was in WCW, but I did love him when he came to WWF. So I wanted William Regal in that old school kind of like purpley pants that he used to wear, which he does have. If you look closely in there, he is dressed up as the WWF William Regal. The only difference is here he comes in this entrance cape, which is a sort of hard plastic, so there's no maneuverability in there. If you want to pose this figure, literally you'll have to pose it as it comes in the box. But looking at the coat, jacket, tote thing itself, it's got some pretty cool detail on there, nice gold, and the only other accessory it comes with is this like collar ruffle thing, obviously to represent that kind of, you know, upper class English lord gimmick that he had whilst he was in WCW. Taking a look at the face scan, I think it's actually really good. It looks like William Regal to me, or Steven Regal. Now before we take a look at the other 2 figures that I got from the WrestlingShop.com, we're going to take a look at Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Now this is actually a figure from my collection. It's not a new one that I got in the post, but back when William Regal was in WCW, for a short time he did team up with Hunter Hearst Helmsley. I can't remember his actual name in WCW. It wasn't Hunter Hearst Helmsley, it was something different, but I can't remember it right now. I believe when they teamed up in WCW, their team name was the Blue Bloods, and they were, you know, that Lord Steven Regal gimmick that he's got here, it was basically represented on both of them. But taking a look at this Hunter Hearst Helmsley figure, it actually comes in the WWE Network Spotlight line, which they've actually started to release as a regular series It's got some cool packaging on this one. I like the colour on this. If you look at the side, you've got that old school Hearst Helmsley. On the other side, the same. On the back, the same. No information on this one. Just a signature or an autograph on the back there. But looking at the figure itself, so this is basically Triple H when he first came to the WWE or WWF back then, and he was that rich upper class gimmick, the same as Lord William Regal in the background there. The costume is authentic to what he used to wear. You got those sort of like white rings on his boots. If you look really closely in there, you've got like a little bit of colour on the side of his tights, on the inside of his tights, which he did have. The coat it comes with, I do like. At the same time, I don't. It's nice that it's fabric and not hard plastic like the William Regal in the background there. And it does look kind of nice, but at the same time, it looks very, very cheap and just sort of out of shape because it's so cheap, you know. And Hearst Helmsley would wear a shirt underneath this jacket, but because it's all one piece, it makes it look as though the shirt underneath is part of the jacket, which it is, whilst it's, you know, in this form. And again, it makes it look a lot cheaper. Also, taking a look at the actual collar of the jacket he really did wear, it came with this little black trim, whereas the figure's missing that. And again, if it had that black on there, I think it would have made it look 10 times better. This jacket, to me, just looks very, very cheap. The other accessory that the figure comes with is this little cane, and as you can see on the top, it's got a little horse head with some really nice detail on there. I don't personally remember him walking down to the ring with a cane, but obviously he must have at some point. I think the face scan is actually pretty good, except my one, if you look very closely under the eye, has a little bit of a black blotch there. But yeah, I think, you know, cheap coat aside, I think this is actually a really cool figure, and if you're looking for an old school Hearst Helmsley, I think this is the only one there is, so I definitely recommend getting that one. Now, getting back to the figures that have actually arrived today, the next one we're going to be taking a look at is Cactus Jack. Now, this Cactus Jack is from Elite Series 48, and on the side of the packaging we've got Cactus Jack there, Cactus Jack on this side, and the same picture on the back. It also shows us who comes in this line, and we've got Dean Ambrose, Kalisto, Dolph Ziggler, Eric Rowan, and the Boogeyman. And as usual, it's also got some of the career highlights and the signature move, etc, etc, if you want to take a look at that there. Now, before we get to the actual figure itself, let's take a look at the accessories. It comes with this big do not enter sign, which obviously is not something that Cactus Jack would walk around with. It's not something that's like, you know, signature to Cactus Jack. But Cactus Jack was very hardcore, so they've added that in there as, you know, a weapon that you can use if you want to play with these figures. And I think it's a nice touch. You could have put like a barbed wire bat in there. You could have put a chair. You could have put anything really. A 2x4 wrapped in barbed wire would have been pretty cool. I think that was actually one of Cactus Jack's signature weapons, or a bag of thumbtacks was another one you could have gone with. It comes with that flannel vest that Cactus Jack and Mick Foley is famous for. And now if you can see in there, Cactus Jack's boots are that kind of cool snake skin that he used to wear. He comes in that legendary Cactus Jack t-shirt that he used to wear with the arms cut off on this one. But for me, the real highlight of this is that face scan. If you look at that, that to me is Mick Foley or Cactus Jack. It looks exactly like him. I think it's a really good figure, this one. I really like this. The only thing negative I have to say about it is I think they might have, you know, made him slightly too muscular or slightly too thin, but it's not too bad. It doesn't ruin the figure at all, but it's my one negative, and it's a very small negative. Now, the next figure that we're going to be taking a look at is Dude Love. Now, I've never actually been a huge Dude Love fan or anything, but I wanted this figure to sort of help with my Attitude Era collection. And if you don't know, Dude Love is actually one of Mick Foley's other personalities. So you had Dude Love, Mankind, Cactus Jack, and obviously Mick Foley. On the side, you've got Dude Love's name. On the other side, you've got a nice picture of Dude Love. On the back, we've got some information about Dude Love there, another picture, and some more information at the bottom. Also, we can take a look at who else comes in this line. We've got Braun Strowman, Sting, Razor, Akam, Dude Love, and Roman Reigns. Now, although I wasn't really a huge fan of Dude Love, I think this figure actually looks great. I like the colours that, you know, that he used to wear, or the colours that are in this figure as well. This nice blue, the white boots are a nice touch. If you look closely in there at his hand, you've got those taped fingers that he used to have whilst he was Mankind, and he also used to have them as Dude Love when he used to use the Mammoth Claw. The face scan looks pretty cool. You've got some removable glasses there and a removable bandana on his head. Nice colours as well. But for me, the one thing that really stands out on this is that t-shirt that he's wearing, that Dude Love t-shirt. Just look at the detail on that. I think it's really cool. You know, all those little colours and all those little details that they've actually put in there. If you look even closely, you've got the Mankind logo sort of attached to that spike that's going through the heart. So I think this is a really good figure. And looking at this figure, one detail I've just noticed as well, and it's a very, very, very small detail, but it actually shows you how much detail they put into this. If you look sort of through all these other patterns, you can actually see the Have a Nice Day logo popping out through all the other colours. It's very hard to focus on there because they're very small, but that goes to show you there's one there as well. Look, if you look closely, just above the D, it goes to show you how much detail went into this Dude Loves t-shirt. Now, before we carry on with more of the delivery, we're going to take another look at one of my figures, and it's Mankind. Now, we've looked at Mankind in the past, but we looked at the more modern version of Mankind. This is actually the original Mankind, what he looked like when he sort of debuted in the WWF, and it's from Elite Series 51. On the side of the packaging, we've got some Mankind pictures. On the back, the same image. No details or no information on this one, but we can see who else comes in this series, and we've got Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns, AJ Styles, Scott Hall, and Berserker. Now, I really like the look of this figure. The colours are really sort of like low-key browns, and just a dark brown and light brown, so they haven't gone crazy with this sort of costume design, but I think it works really well. You've got the mammoth claw, the taped up fingers there. If you look closely on the side of the arm, you've got his big scar going down there. Actually, one thing about that Dude Love figure that we couldn't see is on the arm, he has some like body paint that covers up that scar, so like a love heart, which is really good. A nice Mankind logo there. Face scan's really good. The one issue I have with this figure is if you take a look at the actual face scan, and underneath that mask, where they've painted the face, basically whilst they've been painting that mask brown, they've just got lazy and painted the beard the exact same colour brown, but then got even more lazy and then painted Mankind's lips brown as well. So you know, it's a bit annoying looking at that, but it's something that you can't really notice unless you focus, so it's not too bad. The accessories that come with this are kind of strange. Mankind used to sit in the middle of the ring, or in the corner of the ring, sorry, and pull his hair out, so they've actually included two little clumps of hair that plug into his head socket there. If you look closely, you've got two little skin patches. I think it's it's a nice touch, but it's a very strange accessory for me. It's like, you're definitely gonna, if you open this box up, you're definitely gonna lose those two pieces of hair. But again, I like this figure. There's not many figures in my collection I don't like, actually. I think the only one so far that I've not been a fan of is that Mark Henry that we looked at a few videos ago. Now, these last two figures that we're gonna look at, I actually got these from a seller on Facebook who we've spoke about in the past. Actually, in my very first video, I got the Kane and Rikishi and Paul Bearer Hall of Champion Elites from the same seller. So we're going to give them a shout out again, and it's Let Loose HQ. And again, I'll leave a link to him in the description down below. But let's take a look at the figures. We've got first Jake the Snake Roberts. Now, this Jake the Snake is from the Hall of Fame line, and it's from the class of 2014. On the side of the packaging, as it says up there, 2014. On the side of the packaging, we've got a nice picture of Jake the Snake. On the back, the same, and we've got some information about Jake there. But the other figures you can get in this line are Rowdy Roddy Piper, George the Animal Steel, and Diesel. And we looked at Diesel in one of my last videos, and that was a pretty cool figure. But looking at this Jake the Snake figure, it's got those nice snakeskin boots. They're kind of white colour. I prefer them if they would have been a bit more brown, you know, snakeskin looking. The tights look pretty basic from the front, but on the side, in the packaging you can't really see it, is a picture of a rat, and on the other side is a picture of a snake. So this attire is from when he was feuding with Rick Rude. So the rat on the side there actually represents Ravish and Rick Rude, and the snake is obviously Jake the Snake trying to eat the rat. The torso has all that, like, you know, the hairy chest and the hairy stomach, which is a nice little touch on there. I like that. I think they've done a really good job of actually capturing the likeness of Jake the Snake. I'm not really seeing any issues, you know, anything wrong with that. The wrinkles on the forehead are a nice little detail. I think it's a good look, a good representation of Jake the Snake. The figure actually comes with two accessories, and it comes with two snakes. Now I'm not 100% if this second snake, the darker one, is supposed to be Lucifer, because I can't remember if Lucifer was a cobra or not, but if it wasn't a cobra and it was a python, then I'm guessing this one's meant to be Lucifer. But this one here is definitely the more famous snake that Jake used to carry around, Damien. So I only remember him having two snakes, and one was Damien, one was Lucifer, but I'm pretty sure one of them was a cobra. I think I would have preferred it if they would have had maybe one less snake, and instead of two snakes, you'd have had the big sack that he used to carry the snakes around in, or even if you'd just thrown a sack down in the bottom of the box here as a third accessory. But all in all, I think this is a really good figure. I like this one. Now, the final figure that we're going to be looking at today is Jerry the King Lawler. Now this figure is also from the Hall of Fame Elite collection, and this is from the class of 2007. Taking a quick look at the packaging, we've got a picture of Jerry the King Lawler on the side, on the other side the same, on the back the same image, and some information. And the other figures that you can get in this line are Edge, King Booker, and Sting. I think this is a really interesting looking figure. I like his sort of singlet that he's got on underneath there with some little crowns on the side, some details. It also comes in this kind of weird vest sort of cape combination, which is a nice touch. You can actually take that off. It is just meant for entrance gear. And it comes with Jerry the King Lawler's classic crown. I have seen videos of this online where people have tried to put the crown on his head, but it doesn't really fit, which isn't too bad because as far as I can remember, he never really wore the crown whilst he was wrestling. He used to carry it under his arm, and whilst he was commentating, it would just sit on the commentator's booth on the table in front of him. So it's not too bad that it doesn't fit, but it would have been nice if you had that option. Taking a look at the face scan, I think it's pretty good likeness of Jerry Lawler. As you can see, it's a much younger Jerry Lawler. This could either be from his AWA days or his early WWF days when he was wrestling. Now the Jerry the King Lawler figure that I was really looking for was one that represented what he looked like whilst he was commentating during the Attitude Era, but they haven't actually made one like that. There is an older series Elite which uses this exact same body but a different head scan, and it is a slightly older Jerry the King Lawler head scan, but this was the one I picked because even though I couldn't find an Attitude Era Jerry the King Lawler that I wanted, I was also a fan of Jerry the King Lawler before the Attitude Era when he was kind of feuding with Bret Hart and the entire Hart family. I thought that was a really good time for Jerry the King Lawler, really funny sort of storyline he had going on there. Speaking of Jerry the King Lawler, another figure that I would have loved to have owned would be a Jim Ross figure. Now you can get a Jim Ross figure, but it actually comes in the builder figure line, so you'd have to buy about 4 different figures just to get a little piece of JR in each box, and then you could take those figures out of the box and you could have a loose JR. But I don't understand why WWE hasn't released an in the box Jim Ross figure. It kind of baffles me. And now that Jim Ross is in AEW, it seems like that's probably never going to happen. There's a couple of other people who I'd love to have, like I say, Jim Ross. Howard Finkel would be another one who also comes in the builder figure line, but I think he should get his own figure in its own box. Jesse the Body Ventura would be a great addition to my collection. You can get him in the Jax collection, but I don't think his relationship with WWE is very good, so I doubt they'll ever make a figure of him. Earl Hebner is another figure that I would love in the Mattel Elite series, but again, he's in AEW now, so that's probably never going to happen. There is a Gorilla Monsoon figure coming out very soon, so I'm definitely going to try and get my hands on that. But for now, my kind of like commentator collection consists of Jerry the King Lawler and a Bobby the Brain Heenan figure, which I'm kind of happy with. But anyway guys, we just had a quick look at 8 different WWE Mattel figures, and which was your favourite? You let me know in the comments. But that's it for today's video guys. It's pretty early here in the UK, so I'm feeling a bit tired if you're wondering why I'm sounding a bit run down. I hope you all have a good day, and if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. If you don't, give us a thumbs down, and don't forget to subscribe. But thanks again for watching WrestlingFigz.